You ever have that feeling where you're not sure if you're awake or still dreaming?
All the time.
Warner Brothers recently surprised fans and critics of the Matrix franchise by announcing a fourth film in the popular cyberpunk franchise. What's more is that the original cast members Keanu Reeves and Carrie Anne Moss are signed on to return to this alternate reality, with one of the original Wachowski siblings returning to direct the film. But just how the heck does The Matrix 4 even work? Currently, The Matrix 4 doesn't have an official title nor an official release date, but seeing as how the film is set to start filming as soon as early 2020, we think we could be seeing this unexpected sequel a lot sooner than we could imagine. The original films were co-directed by the Wachowski siblings, but this particular entry will be directed solely by Lana, who will co-write the script with novelist Alexander Hemon and Cloud Atlas scribe David Mitchell. When it first came out, The Matrix was considered a landmark film that pushed boundaries and wowed audiences. It was the thinking man's action movie, full of revolutionary stunts and special effects, including the oft-parodied bullet time sequence.
Whoa.
The film would go on to win 4 Academy Awards in the effects and sound department and 1 for editing, all of which it seriously deserved. Due to its popularity, the film was greenlit 2 sequels, which were filmed simultaneously and released to mixed to poor critical reception. During the sequel era, Warner Brothers would simultaneously release The Animatrix, a collection of short animated films, and Enter the Matrix, a canonical video game that bridged some storylines from The Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions. It was a pretty impressive cross-media project that explored the deeper recesses of the history of the world of The Matrix. Then it started to fall apart for the franchise. Bad word of mouth brought The Matrix down from its glossy cloud, and further tales stopped coming out. Barring the Matrix Online MMO and the Path of Neo video games in the early and mid-2000s. Fans and critics chastised the sequels for being weak, poor, and not nearly as philosophical as the first film. From there, the franchise lay dormant, until word came in 2017 that the series was to be rebooted with Michael B. Jordan replacing Keanu Reeves as the lead and Zach Penn in talks to write a treatment. Fans were not happy with the idea of a reboot of the franchise, especially when there was potential for new stories in this dormant series. Then, in 2019, fans were blindsided when most of the original band got back together to do one more show. But how will this even work? In case you forgot, and you'd be forgiven if you did, both Neo and Trinity died during the events of Matrix Revolutions. During the film, Agent Smith infiltrates Zion and critically wounds Trinity aboard the Nebuchadnezzar. Likewise, another one of the Smith clones took over the body of the Oracle, granting him insight into the future. Confident that he can win in a fight against Neo thanks to already seeing it, he fights Neo, and both characters ultimately meet their end after Neo, connected to the Source, gets deleted. In the real world, the machines take Neo's body to the Machine City, likely achieving a new state of enlightenment as he transcends beyond physical existence. So, while his ultimate fate remains a bit vague and ambiguous in a philosophical sense, Neo as a character is pretty much declared as gone as we knew it. How then are both of these characters expected to come back for a 4th Matrix film without retconning or undoing the events that happened all the way back in 2003? You can bet that Warner Brothers wanted to find a way to bring Keanu Reeves back, as the actor is in something of a career high right now. So how do you bring back the most bankable actor in the franchise when the character he played is dead? Well, we have to think about what makes Neo so special. He is the one, after all. He can do it all.
Here, you should try it. Yeah, work it. Come on, Neo, get in there, man. Do the robot.
Why?
Come on, man, you the one. You can do it all.
No.
More importantly, he has died before and come back to life. In the first Matrix film, Agent Smith picks up on Neo's conversation with Tank and intercepts him at the hardline, putting some pretty big holes in his chest while he's at it. Neo flatlined in the real world as pain and injury, mortal or not, obtained in the Matrix carries over to one's real body. But despite this, Neo's heart restarts after Trinity declares her love for Neo, and Neo is resurrected, enlightened with new superpowers, including being able to see the code and stopping bullets in their tracks. From there, Neo's powers only grew as he learned how to fly, being clairvoyant, and even bring people back from death. The sequel films really played up the whole enlightened god thing. So Neo is a unique figure in that he is able to not only bend the laws of the Matrix, but completely break them. There is one crucial piece of information that we've left out about Neo thus far. The Neo that we were rooting for during the Matrix trilogy wasn't the only Neo. Or to be more specific, he wasn't the only one. The concept of the One is introduced to us in the first Matrix film by Morpheus, a general and beacon of hope for the people of Zion who has spent his entire life searching for the One. Morpheus tells Neo that a figure was able to shape the Matrix to his will, and the humans saw him as a messiah figure. This figure opened humanity's eyes about their own freedom, and after he died, the Oracle prophesied his return. Morpheus believed correctly that Neo was this man. The One returned. The person Morpheus was speaking of was in fact the fifth One, and Neo is the sixth iteration of the One in the sixth version of the Matrix. During the events of Reloaded, Neo meets the Architect, the program who has built and rebuilt the Matrix after his initial designs kept failing. In each version of the Matrix, however, the One has appeared, an anomaly in the code of the Matrix that attaches itself to one particular human and granting them powers from the source. By the end of the Matrix Revolutions, the Architect has agreed to allow freedom to humans who desire it. A new Matrix has been designed by the child Sati, and the world already looks better in the seventh version of the Matrix. Excluding the events of the Matrix Online, this is where the franchise ended for most fans of the series. But if there was a version of the One in every version of the Matrix, does that mean the anomaly that creates the One code still exists within the source? The rules are definitely rewritten for the seventh version of the Matrix due to the existence of freedom and free will. But we have to assume with Keanu Reeves returning that the One code must exist. The question now is, does each and every version of the One look like Keanu Reeves? With the return of Carrie Anne Moss as well, we have to wonder if humans are copy and pasted into the Matrix from a master file and that they've lived out their lives 6 times already. There's another possibility that would allow for the return of both Neo and Trinity in this unexpected fourth film in the franchise. The Matrix is based on the rules of a computer. While we may have been a little lost on the concepts back in 1999, computer logistics has become the norm for just about everyone now, and even those with a cursory knowledge of their devices today know more than the average user did back in the 90s. So, when we say that there's a chance that Neo and Trinity's data was saved in the cache of the Matrix, it doesn't seem so crazy. When Neo died, there was also the possibility of him returning due to his godlike powers. But Trinity, a human without the anomaly code inside of her, essentially had permadeath. So there's no way for her to come back unless this Trinity is a new version of the same character, or the original Trinity's information was stored in the Matrix due to her death being so close to the source and the Machine City. The idea of the cache theory supports the philosophical idea behind Descartes' separation of mind and body through dualism. Neo achieves a new level of enlightenment at the end of Revolutions and literally separates his mind from his body, plugging his subconscious and Trinity's code into the source, existing without a body for years. The idea that Trinity and Neo are saved in the cache and that the same people have existed in all versions of the Matrix supports the theory that a younger version of Morpheus will play a part in the narrative. Lawrence Fishburne was not a part of the initial cast reveal, and his character actually survived the events of the trilogy. Perhaps in the seventh version of the Matrix, a virus begins creeping on the utopia Sati created, forcing a younger version of Morpheus to begin looking for the fabled One that he's likely heard about from hacking into the seventh version of the Matrix. From there, he'd have to go about finding a way to download Neo into his body, which would be one possible reason as to why Neo and Trinity will appear older and Morpheus will be played by an entirely different actor, as he'd be significantly younger than how he appeared in the original trilogy. Of course, it can't all be serious philosophical theories that pertain to the Matrix 4. There are some fairly zany ones out there, and one highly detailed one involves the extremely popular John Wick franchise. A lengthy post on Reddit by a user details that Wick is actually Neo after he's been resurrected by the machines. Plugged back into the Matrix, his mission is to stop the awakened humans in this version of the Matrix, which explains why he's so gun crazy and expert at hand-to-hand combat. Chances are this theory is just a wild fan theory though, as the two films are not even housed at the same studio. Still, John Wick 2 and 3 had Lawrence Fishburne in it, giving us the Morpheus and Neo reunion we've been waiting for. Yes, Keanu Reeves is coming back, and we're all very happy about it. But nowhere does it say he's returning as the lead. So what if Neo ends up playing the role of the mentor to a younger version of Morpheus? That would certainly flip the story on itself and create a whole new dynamic where the student has become the master and the master has reverted to his student. Chances are that the rumored young Morpheus may be the lead of this new film. We have no idea if The Matrix 4 will be a one-off film or if it'll launch a whole new trilogy, but the potential for more tales within the universe of The Matrix is certainly there. The original sequels were onto something with their foray into cross-media storytelling, and fans have come to expect tie-ins and other forms of storytelling to keep the narrative flowing before and after the movie is released. With the bankability of Keanu Reeves and the nostalgic appeal of the franchise, combined with the popularity of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Star Wars cross-media platforms, we can't rule out taking deeper dives into The Matrix in the years to come. There are exiled programs, such as vampires, werewolves, and angels that were hinted at in Reloaded, while there are wholly different genres that can be explored, such as detective story featured in the Animatrix anthology series. Oh, and being a Matrix film, we expect game-changing special effects and action sequences. So that's how we think Neo and Trinity could return for The Matrix 4. Are you happy that The Matrix 4 is a sequel and not a reboot, or should Warner Brothers have just let sleeping dogs lie? Let us know what you think of Neo returning in the comments below, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in your playlist every day. Thanks for watching.